Hello, people. What is going on? Another day in the world of West Ham United. To my right is Harry. You know who he is. And we're to talk about new signings, selling players, and more. Harry, how are you doing, mate?
I'm brilliant. Yeah, thank you for having me on.
No worries at all, mate. No worries at all. Right, let's start off with selling of players. Yeah, because it looks like that we're signing Carlos Soler at the end of the week. What do you make of that signing?
To be honest, with you, he plays in the league, doesn't he? So I'm not too not watching him a lot, obviously. But from the basis of looking at his statistics and things like that, he does look like a good signing. But until he gets into the team, I can't really say if he will be a good signing or he won't. To be honest, with you, because we just have to judge him in Lopetegui's system.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. The thing is with him is that obviously he's going to come into a side, but where does he fit? That's the because obviously when everyone is fit, where does he play? Because he's
Yeah.
really coming in to take Paqueta's position to a point. Don't know about you.
I don't know. I think we'd like ideally to play a midfield three in a 4-3-3.
Mm.
I don't quite see that happening. I don't think either Alvarez or Guido Rodriguez is good enough to play as a single pivot. So I think you're looking at a double pivot. So if he's coming into slot next to Guido or next to Alvarez, I think that might be one of the positions. Or if we're going against stronger opposition, maybe putting Guido next to Alvarez and then Soler in front of them in the number 10.
Yeah.
But as I said, ideally, I'd like us to see like a 4-3-3 with Soler off the right, Paqueta on the left, and obviously Guido or Alvarez in the DM. But I don't think that will quite happen just yet.
Michael says, afternoon, James. Seen the bombshell Fabrizio who has just dropped. No, I haven't. So if you would like to tell us, Michael, please don't cheer me up today because I've had a shit day. But if it is bad, then yeah. Listen, for me, yeah, it is what it is. Good signing. Do you know what I'm saying? But it all depends on who's going out. So who is going out for you? Like, because obviously we've got Freddie Potts in there, Andy Irvin in there.
Mm.
Soucek, Ward-Prowse. Who's going, Harry?
I think in an ideal world, Freddie Potts will get a loan to a championship club, gets him game time, which he needs. He's no point in sitting on a bench constantly, especially we're not in Europe, so he's not going to get European games. Andy Irvin, I think he'll probably get sold. I know he's a bit of a cult hero nowadays, but probably will get sold. And then I think Soucek will stay as a backup. James Ward-Prowse will probably stay as a backup as well, at least for this season. I can see him maybe one of them moving on next season.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. Just getting what Gemma's saying here, yeah. Alvarez's agent's flashing him about, saying he's back for Palace and the clubs are interested in him. Do you know what? That's a tricky one, right? Because he ain't back. He's far from back. He's not. He's not going to be back to the 14th of September. Now, if Manchester United, 'cause I think that's the team who are looking at him, come in for him and say, right, we'll give you 80 million pounds for him, then you have to act fast and go out and make sure you've got a replacement in hand, ready to go. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rodriguez isn't the guy. I'm going to be honest. If they think they're going to get rid of X amount of these players and take Alvarez out and bring and keep Rodriguez in there, he's not the guy. I don't know. I don't know about this one because obviously Alvarez hasn't really come out and said he or stated anything at the minute, so it's very hard to sort of dig him out to a point. But if it is, and listen, if Manchester United are mad enough to go and pay 80, 90 million pounds for this geezer, because that's what he's worth, to us as fans, then you sell him. You do sell him for that because like you can go out and find a lot of other like gems out there. Like Matt O'Reilly is at Celtic. You go and get him. There's other DMs out there that you could go and find all around Europe to a point. So, what do you make of Alvarez in that?
To be honest with you, if they offered us anything north of 60 million, I'd drive into Manchester. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's an excellent player. I think we could probably replace him with two players, and they can do the same job as him. Obviously, I know we do miss him. We did miss him last season when he was out of the side, but at times he just lacks discipline. He's a bit rash. And I think we can do better. But I wouldn't actively look to sell him. If a decent bid did come in, then obviously I think we could probably benefit the team by replacing him.
Yeah, yeah. Would hate to lose Alvarez, but I expect him to stay and partner with Guido, who is much better than you think, James. Club America days, they were amazing together. Yeah, I know, mate, but this is not Club America. This is Premier League, right? This is the best league on the planet. And for me, like, if someone comes in for Alvarez, I love Alvarez, don't get me wrong, I really do. But I've got to roll my hands up to say, if someone comes in and drops 60 to 60 upwards, like Harry said,
Mm.
you're going to look at that. Do you know what I mean? Because you can go out and find players who could do a similar role to him. Do you know what I mean? If Mark Noble, fantasy geezer, Mark Noble will be looking at someone else. And I just hope West Ham. This is the one fear, Harry, that I had all throughout the window. Yeah, that I felt that a big player was going to leave the club towards the back end of the window. But it just felt like to me that everything was going so well. We've signed players, everything looked good. Then all of a sudden, wallop, someone's going to leave who's a big name player. What would happen if that does happen, Harry?
I think it depends on the big player. As I said, if it's Alvarez and it's like 3 days before the window shuts, I think you're probably more inclined to say no unless it's proper silly money, because it's going to be very hard to find obviously someone to replace him. I don't think Kudus or like Paqueta will leave. So I think that big player, as you said, is going to be Alvarez if it is anyone. As I said, if they offer 60 million and the club think they can get a replacement in time, fair enough. I don't think you necessarily need like a big signing as that DM. Obviously, I know we've got Guido Rodriguez, and he's coming from the Spanish league. Not old, but he's getting on. So he's going to have to adjust to the style of play and the fast pace of the Premier League. I think if you could partner him with someone, then
Yeah,
I think you got quite a good midfield there. But as I said, it depends how late on in the window it is to replace Alvarez.
it does. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if they're looking at him now, right? I think West Ham's got to come out and say he's not for sale, right? He ain't leaving, and just kill it stone dead. Do you know what I mean? And if someone does come in and say, right, because I think Manchester United are the team. Obviously, Ten Hag's worked with him before at Ajax, and it wouldn't surprise me. Obviously, he's got ex teammates there, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, for me, like, the whole point of like building a side is to keep your best players. And if you go and sell one of them, it's just going to dampen the spirits, isn't it, Harry?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I do think we do have enough without him if we do bring in a replacement.
Mm.
But as I said, do you really want to chance it with like, let's say, 3 days left in the window? Personally, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Right, if that is the case, what do we do with Thomas Soucek and James Ward-Prowse? Because at the weekend, fuck me, did I see some grief that Thomas Soucek was getting? Yeah,
Mm.
and some of it I can understand what they're saying, but then on the other hand, I can think, well, hold on a minute. When you want someone who's committed to the shirt, blood, sweat, and tears, gives everything all the time, might not be the greatest player, but some of the players who've done that over the years haven't been the greatest players. And then there's people just wanting to rip the shit out of Thomas Soucek. Like, do you know what I'm saying? What do you make of all that with Soucek, mate?
As I said, many times over and over again, you see on social media that if a player dies for the club and gives it their all, they'll always get supported and things like that. But obviously, it's not quite the case. I really like Soucek. I think there's games where he comes in and plays, and I also think there's games where we're against weaker opposition, we could probably drop him. But the work he does off the ball and in each box is quite remarkable. To be fair, he's probably one of our like better players off the ball. And I think you'll find it really hard to replace him, and you would miss him if you did sell him.
How much he worth, Harry?
Oh, I'd say 20, 25 million, maybe. I'm not too sure about his contract situation, but if it's still got a few years on it, maybe pushing 30.
Yeah,
But
his contract ends 2027. He signed on
okay,
there, so he's got time on his side at West Ham. Let's put it like that. But it's just whether or
yeah,
not West Ham want to value selling him to a point. Like, I agree with you. I don't think. Listen, he's not the perfect midfielder,
no,
but he's a sort of geezer that you bring off the bench with like 10, 15 minutes to go if you're looking for a goal. Do you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
You can't question. No one can really question this geezer's goal scoring ability because he fucking scores goals every year. Do you know what I mean? And he's like, what do you class him as? A central midfielder, box to box midfielder? He's not an attacking midfielder, I don't think. Like,
no.
what
I
is
think
he?
I think he works in both boxes. He's a box-to-box centre midfielder.
Yeah.
As I said, I think you put him on late in the game if you're looking to get a goal. He causes havoc in the box. Equally, I think you put him on if you're looking to see out a game. He wins a lot of duels, good in the air. Obviously, when teams are getting desperate near the end of the game and they're lumping balls forward, there's not many people that are going to beat Thomas Soucek to a header, are they? So I think he's really important to us. As I said, I don't think he should start every game. There is teams where I think he should come in, and there's teams where I don't think he should start. But I think if you did get rid of him, you'd find it quite hard to replace him. And I think not now that we have him, but once he's gone, you'll miss him.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. What do you make of Ward-Prowse? Because obviously he's there. He come on at the weekend. People are saying about him starting, including myself. I think he might have to start against Palace this week because the midfield on the weekend was just all over the place. The whole team, to a point, was all over the fucking place, not just the midfield. What do you make of Ward-Prowse? And does he have a future at West Ham for you, Harry?
I think he does have a future, but I think it depends where he's playing. I think if you look back at the start of last season, where he was doing so well for us, he was playing in that number 10 role, and I think he thrives further up the pitch. I think when you put him next to someone in a double pivot, I think he struggles to build up from deep. I just don't think he's that useful there. And I think one of his massive qualities is how good he works off the ball. His pressing ability is second to none. And I think in a Lopetegui system where he's looking for players to press up higher, he probably is better off in a number 10 position because he can really press the opposition's defence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. The only thing is with Ward-Prowse is that he was a Moyes signing to a point, yeah, and he fitted Moyes' way. I just don't see how. What is he? 30 years old. He's just going to be a bench player at West Ham. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't see how he sort of comes into the fold. The difference is now if Alvarez is pushing and twerking for a move somewhere else, then we've got a problem because if people think that we're just going to drop, where we're going to go out and get another DM of quality, who's really going to give their DM away right now? Do you know what I mean? Of quality, and plus whoever we do go and get, it's going to be a fucking to a point. It's going to be a quick, snappy signing. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it's going to be a panic buy to a point because West Ham ain't ready for it. So obviously Alvarez needs to shut up to stay there for another year, and then we'll be all right. But I'm not too sure on it. I'm not too sure. What have you made of the signings? Obviously, you see them at the weekend, right?
Yeah.
You only see a few of them at the weekend. But what do you make of them?
I think some of them are really good buyers. I think others you'll probably need a little bit of time to say if they're going to be good or not. I think you look at Guilherme. I think as soon as I saw him play in a pre-season, I said straight away he's going to need a loan. He's nowhere near ready yet. As I said, I think he might be good for the future, but at the moment he's not cut out for it. He needs a loan. And there's nothing wrong with that, but he just needs that for his development. Fulkrug, I was a bit disappointed we didn't go for Duran or anything like that because you look at Fulkrug's age. I know it's not all about age, but I think we probably could have done better getting off Duran, to be honest here. But time will tell. I mean, I hope Fulkrug scores 20 goals a season, but I don't quite see it happening.
What do you make of that signing? Do you think that's a good signing, or do you think that's because I think there's two signings. Obviously, one of the signings for me at the weekend really done all right in Kilman. I'm going to be honest. I thought he played well. Yeah. My issue with Kilman, which it always is that when strikers or attackers are running at him, he just backs up too much for me, and it's like it's backing up, but then you've got to engage eventually. I find he backs up and allows the shot to come in. So that's my only qualm with Kilman. But I thought he'd done all right at the weekend. Obviously, Kilman's big money, and obviously Fulkrug is the centre forward that West Ham have got into a point. Are you saying that basically Fulkrug? What are you saying on Fulkrug? Do you think he's going to be all right this year or not?
I think he'll be all right, but I don't think it's up to Fulkrug to be all right. I think it's the other team, like the rest of the team, to be all right. They've got to give him service. I mean, you see the amount of slander Antonio gets when he's up front by himself. Equally, Fulkrug is the same. People are saying Fulkrug don't get no service. Antonio don't get no service. Antonio actually works probably to create more chances than what Fulkrug would in a scrappy system. But I think, as I said, you're relying on the players behind Fulkrug to actually deem whether he has a good season or not. If them players don't click, then he won't score goals.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. The only thing is that playing Antonio at the weekend, it just feels like the old guard's still there, and it's just going to
Mm.
take like a long time to get them out. Now I'm going to go through it, sort of thing. I'll start with the attack, and I work my way up down to defense. Obviously, with Antonio, for me, I think he's done, Harry. Like, I think it's time to say goodbye. And if there's an offer comes in for him now, I think West Ham have to let him go. Now, what do you make of sort of West Ham looking at another centre forward? Now, it's been mentioned with Tammy Abraham. Tony's been mentioned. Obviously, we was going for Duran. We've changed tack on that and gone for four crew. Do you think West Ham will get another striker?
I personally don't think we will. No, I think it will be too hard to shift things and Antonio if they are looking to do that. I personally wouldn't shift Antonio this year. Obviously, I
Mm,
know a new manager's coming in, but he's literally the only striker to ever prove that he's worked for us. No matter, I
yeah.
know it's a different system, but he's the only proven striker that's ever worked for us. So even off the bench as a backup option, I think you got to at least keep him around for a year just in case. And obviously, I'd look to get rid of him next year.
I think what it is with me, with the striker situation, if you can go and get rid of Antonio and Ings and you can bring in one quality striker of note. So for instance, if Ivan doesn't fancy Saudi Arabia and basically Brentford buckle under the pressure, you bring Ivan Tony to West Ham and you let go Antonio and Ings, that's a completely different upgrade. Like, and
Yeah,
what it is, you've got to look at this on face value. We've got 37 Premier League games to go now. Yeah, two cup competitions. For me, for Krug, another new striker of quality, and Jared Bowen, that is enough. Like, because Jared Bowen can go up front and do the damage up front also. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
and then he's got people behind him like Kudus, like Somerville, Paqueta. Do you know what I'm saying? Who can sort of supply him to a point. For me, Jared Bowen's the best finisher at the club. Like when he's one on one, he don't miss. Really, do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
for me, I just think West Ham need to, if they're going to let him go, they've got to let him go now, right? Because obviously he's got a year, he's on his final year. Is it worth letting him go and letting him go for free, or is it worth basically saying to someone like a Wolves, or for instance, if Wolves come in for him and say, right, we give you £8 million for him, we'd be mad not to take that to a point. Do you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
the Danny Ings one, I'm going to be honest, I agree. It's going to be hard to shift him, but I think West Ham have got to find a way. Like they really have got to find a way of getting him out the door and getting their wages down. But um, now, obviously, let's go to the defence. Uh, Aguerd and Mavropanos both been mentioned in the past about leaving. Who do you reckon goes out of the pair of them?
um, probably a guard. I think. I mean, last year he kind of wanted to move anyway, didn't he?
Mm,
But I think Mavropanos, Lopetegui likes, maybe not likes enough to start for him. Obviously now that Talibo's here, but as a backup, I think he's all right. I don't actually rate both of them that highly. I think we could do a lot better than both of them. And if a decent offer came in for both of them, then not necessarily now this late on in the window, but if earlier on in the window both of them had a decent offer come in, I'd have let them both go. Um, I think Aguerd is very prone to mistakes, and so is Mavropanos. I think probably in this system, if you're looking at a high line and balls in behind, I think Aguerd defends better, chasing the goal rather than defending in front of him.
yeah,
But I just think a Saudi club might come in and you got to get rid of him.
yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. For me, I'm not convinced on it. Like that's why I was angry at the weekend. When Lopetegui went with the back three, like that was there last year in Soufal, Mavropanos, and Emerson, and then you got Kilman, who's the best player. That tells you all you need to know as fans. Like that,
Mm.
it just doesn't feel right anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? That feels like we're just asking to be to concede. How have you rated the window this season so far?
I always find it quite hard to rate a window, and especially I like to rate it at the end of the window because on paper everything looks good, but
Yeah,
until you actually see them embed into the system and play, you don't actually really get the real understanding of what they're like. On paper, I like the Tadibo signing. I like the Kilman signing, although I do think we kind of slightly overpaid for him. I mean, I know we got Kilman now, but I think Jacob Greaves was there for the taking. Probably would have done
yeah.
an equally good as job. But yeah, I'd like to rate it at the end of the season. I can't say too much on it now because players are going to come good and players might just not work out. But until you give them at least a year to bed in, then I can't really hold judgment.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Uh, Mohamed Kudus, obviously at the weekend, he was shifted to the left. And this is a question for everyone in the chat also. what do you think on that? Because Lucas, who's on this channel with me, I agree with him. I really like. I don't like him on the left. I think you're nullifying him to a point. I think when he's on the right, he can cut inside and let shots go and make more damage on that right hand side. And are we shoehorning Mohamed Kudus into position? That's more to the point. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Because it feels like you've got Paqueta, you've got Bowen, you've got the centre forward, and Mo's the last one there to say, right, where we're going to put him. What are you saying, Harry?
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of him on the left. I do think he provides an outlet on the wing. Obviously, he's got bundles of pace and he can drive us up the pitch. I wouldn't like to see him out on the left. I think his best position is off the right, but then you've got Jared Bowen there, who's obviously best position is off the right as well. I mean, I know it's a little bit early on saying, but for Palace, I wouldn't mind seeing both strikers not playing. Actually, Jared Bowen going up top, Kudus off the right, and then bringing in Somerville on the left or playing Paqueta off the left.
Yeah, do you know what? I agree with you, mate. And this is the thing I can't work out with some fans. I really can't. They say that we need a centre forward. We had a good centre forward last year in Bowen. When Bowen was up front. Do you know what I mean? And when you got that front three last year was deadly. Bowen, Paqueta, and Kudus. And it feels like to me West Ham are experimenting to a point with this situation. Now, don't get me wrong. You go and get Füllkrug in, and we don't know how good he's going to be. But don't be surprised if that front four, what you just said, will be the front four in sort of October, November time. It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't. Like Somerville for me is a talent. Like young, like he's got bundles of pace. One thing with that kid is he makes space. Like I watched enough of him at Leeds, and I've watched enough of him in general to say that this kid can make space from that left hand side. And I'm not on it. I agree with you. Like Antonio can't start the weekend. He can't. If Füllkrug's not fit, you're going to have to go with Bowen up front, Harry, ain't you?
Yeah. Obviously, I mean, Füllkrug is obviously a completely different player profile to Bowen in that he's going to hold up the ball for us and obviously bring others into play. But I think against Palace, where they play a system of like, obviously the three at the back, then you're looking at bundles of space on the wing. And if you've got Kudus and Somerville going down the wings, I think we're going to cause them a real trouble.
Yeah. What do you make of, like, obviously we discussed it about on Saturday that it weren't great off air. Like, what did you make of it on Saturday? Because you was there, weren't you?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't like to. It was Pellegrini-esque, I thought personally. I'm not saying that's what it's going to be like for the rest of the season because I'm not judging Lopetegui and saying he's terrible or anything like that. I'm going to give him the whole season to judge him off them. But I found it quite boring at times. I think I know we did have 51% possession. I think we had more of the ball, but I don't think we did a lot with it. I think we passed it around the back quite a lot. We struggled in build up, and I don't think we created an awful lot. I know obviously the XG says otherwise, but I mean it was a penalty and Thomas Soucek right at the end that really should have obviously draw us the game. But other than that, I can't really think of any memorable chances we had.
Yeah, like I think I can see the idea of what he's doing. One thing I will say is this: I can see the plan, what he's trying to do, passing out the back, passing through the lines, getting the wingers into play, getting your centre halves to sort of play scrambled left to right, right to left. Right, I get all that. I really do. I agree with you though. On the weekend, it wasn't great. Like, I said it on numerous videos that I've done since then, that there was little teething things where I just didn't think was right. Now, this weekend, Crystal Palace, there is no excuse now. I can't hear from no man or woman or even youngster, right, that we have to wait to bed these players in, right? I can't hear it no more. Yeah. Wan-Bissaka is a Premier League proven player. Yeah, he's done it for so many years. Yeah, he's better than Soufal. You get him in, right? Antonio wasn't great at the weekend. You got a Champions League finalist in Nicholas Füllkrug. You get him in. Do you know what I'm saying? And if you want to change Mavropanos, you've got a quality youngster who used to be at Barcelona. Like, you get him in. So you get all three of them people in. And if you want to also want to change Thomas Soucek, you can go with James Ward-Prowse. Like that. Like, but that's a toss of a coin with them too. Like, you've got people who love Soucek, won't have a bad word said about him, and then you've got people who say, right, he is the worst thing going, get him out. We'll play with 10 men, sort of thing. So, it's like, what are you expecting at the weekend for you, Harry?
I think the game will be won in the midfield, and obviously Palace play that box midfield. Normally we struggle against box midfields, so it's all down to how Lopetegui sets up that midfield. Do I think we'll win? Probably not. I think we could scrape a draw. I think Palace are a good team, and as I said, we always struggle against box midfield. So I would like to see Soucek Guido as a double pivot, and then Paqueta in front of them, or even off the left. But we need to do something about the midfield, otherwise we will struggle.
Yeah, it's like someone said to me the other day. We've held 9 goals there in the last 2 years. 4-3 2 years ago. I don't know why I thought it was 5-3, but I thought it was 5-3. I thought we held 5. It was 4-3, and then there was 5 last year. Like that first half last season, towards the back end of the season, was probably one of the worst first halves I've seen. Right. Well, in the space of a few days, really, because obviously we lost against Chelsea and all. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, listen, on the weekend, we need to see something. We need to see something of some note. And like, I think it's a big game for West Ham. Like, this is like, I get what people say about you got to like be patient and all that. But if we lose that game, we're not getting nothing against Man City. I'll be stunned
No.
if we get anything against Man City. So we could go into the international break with no points and probably sitting rock bottom of the league. Now, I don't really want that. I don't really want that. And if this is a new West Ham, and you want to be competing for top 6 or going for higher honours, you've got to go to Crystal Palace and not lose. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I'm saying? Palace fans said that they were poor against Brentford. It's a must win. It is, mate. It is. We've played Palace in pre-season, and we know how that's set up. Also facing Glasner, former team in Europe, so nothing should be a shock. Yeah, I know. It really is. Have you got anything you want to ask, Harry? Anything that was on your mind? Anything, questions or
Oh,
anything?
I was just interested to see your take on where you think Paqueta is best played.
Uh, what? For me, 10. Like, I see this quite a lot when people say, I'll put him on the left. Yeah, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I do get it, but I don't like this three-man midfield of Paqueta, Alvarez, and Kudus, and then you've got Somerville, Bowen. It's just 2 out and out attack. For
Yeah,
me, it's 10. I think you put him as the 10. He gets the ball 35 yards out from goal, 40 yards out from goal. He can pass through the lines. He can arrive late. He can also change and go up front if other players have dropped in too deep. Like, he's quite like, listen, I ain't got to tell you, Lucas Paqueta is an intelligent footballer. He knows what he's doing. Do you know what I'm saying? But I just think you need pace on the flanks. You need people who can bomb on and then do cutbacks. And I guarantee if Lucas Paqueta's a 10, he arrives late into the box every single time with like tap-ins and things like that. And yeah, I would say a 10 for me. What are you saying, Harry?
I think against weaker opposition, he's probably his best as the 10. I don't like necessarily seeing him in a deep build-up play. I think he struggles there. I mean, we watched him against Celta Vigo and obviously in the game just on the weekend. I think he's quite one-dimensional in a sense. He likes the long balls over the top. I think the team's going to read that quite a lot and just go like, well, we know what he's doing. We're just going to drop off a little bit. I think he's obviously quite, well, not quite, but he loses the ball a fair bit. I think he overplays at times, especially closer to the goal. I don't think he needs to be doing that. I think further away from the goal as possible, especially when he's trying flicks and stuff. But against stronger opposition, I actually do prefer him off the left. I think his best season was last year off the left. With Emerson obviously overlapping him, he comes inside as the spare man, and that's how he got so much space because no one was picking him up because he was that spare man in midfield all the time. But as I said, against weaker oppositions where we're going to look to try to break down a deep line, I think he's probably better off central in a 10.
Yeah. See, on what you've just said, I agree in regards because it makes Emerson play better. Like, Emerson just doesn't play well when Paqueta's there. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is, but it must be some sort of like friendship that's gone wrong. But when Paqueta's on the left, Emerson plays better, and then obviously that makes us play better. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I look at him in the 10, and I think he could do a lot more damage from there. Would you rather sell Kudus or Paqueta? Now, I'm going to rephrase that because I was doing a TikTok last night, and someone said to me, "Sell, bench, and start." Paqueta, Goodness, Bowen. There you go, Harry. What you saying?
Um, it's quite a tough one, isn't it? I think you've got to
Yeah,
start Kudus. I think he gets into most teams in the world. To be honest with you, he's really good, like really good. I'm benching Bowen. Love him to start, but I can't have both of them start, obviously, and then I'm selling Paqueta.
yeah. That's exactly how I put it. Like honestly, and when I got told it last night, I was like, "Oh, you've done me," because I love Bowen, but I think
Yeah,
Mo is a very very special player. Like I think if we can get bodies round him, he could be phenomenal for West Ham. He really could. He could be one of the best players West Ham's had for a long
yeah.
time. Do you know what I mean? Uh, 88 in here, 22 likes. Get it up. Come on, you irons. Yeah, smash a like on the video. Get me to 50 likes and I'll be happy today. You know what I mean, it is Tuesday, so yeah. Let's get Matt's question in. For James, would you take a punt on Lamptey as cover for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, seeing as Loppy wants two quality players in each position and Lamptey's a mole? Yeah, 100%, mate. I did see it. Fabriziano was saying that teams are circling for him. Like he's 23 years old, Lamptey, ex-Chelsea, currently at Brighton. I would take him, mate, all day long. The only thing with him, he's a bit injury prone, but if he's your second choice, yeah, right, he's only going to come on for bits like spits and spurts. And having Wan-Bissaka there, and especially if Lopetegui plays as a three man defense, sorry,
Mm.
but he's a good wing back to have also. So what do you say about that, Harry?
Yeah, I think he wouldn't be a bad signing. Obviously, you look at Wan-Bissaka, he's lights out defensively. And then if you had a polar opposite of him as Lamptey is a different option, who's obviously much better going forward, it gives you quite a good bit of depth and how you can tweak games if something's not quite going right.
Yeah, I agree. Uh, Keep Paqueta at all costs. Bowen and Kudus are very much replaceable. What are you guys on? Well, I'll tell you what we're not on, right? We're not on Paqueta fucking like being inconsistent. That's what I'm not on. Like, that's one thing with him. He's a very good player, Lucas Paqueta, but the other week he scores a wonder goal and a lovely assist for Bowen. On the weekend, he was nowhere to be seen. I'm not going to lie. Do you know what I'm saying? You can also play Lamptey on the right wing back as an option. Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree. Paqueta just needs a proper partnership to complement him we have in Brazil with Douglas Luiz. Well, shout out to Douglas Luiz all the way over in Juventus. Do you know what I mean? Any final words, Harry? Anything else you want on your mind before we make a move?
No, I think we touched base and everything. I wasn't to bring up Soucek and James Ward-Prowse. Obviously, we spoke about that. Spoke about Paqueta, but yeah, just looking forward to Palace now.
I'll tell you what, to round it up, like, and we'll talk about the manager. Obviously, people at the weekend were going fucking mad. It was a big meltdown on social media. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stay off X, people. Stay off X. What are you saying on him? Because obviously that's the first game. People, I ain't gonna say people turned on him. I'm not, but people weren't happy with that result. What's Lopetegui got to do to sort of get this going faster than it expected to be? Because obviously, off air, he said to me it's going to take 6 months for him to properly get into it.
Yeah.
Can this fan base really wait 6 months? Really?
I just think you've got to be patient. As I said, you're looking at a massive, massive, drastic change. You're looking at obviously under Moyes, we actively didn't want the ball. We were a counter-attacking side. I know Lopetegui does still have that counter-attacking element into him, but we're now obviously wanting the ball more, and it's going to take players quite some time to adjust, especially if you're looking at developing a press as well. You need to have a very good press, otherwise this is not going to work. They're going to get through you easily. So it takes time. I'm not, as I said 6 months as a maximum.
Mm.
I do think the first 10 games will struggle. I really do. But as I said to you off air, exactly like Bournemouth last year, they struggled the early half of the season and they come into their own second half. As that
Yeah,
comment that said, yeah.
yeah. I understand that. Don't get me wrong. I think where should West Ham be at Christmas? So come Christmas Day, Everyone's
Yeah.
having their turkey, loving life, partying in right wherever they are. Where should West Ham be in the league for you, Harry? Because for me, I think West Ham have to be minimum top 10. Have to be right in and around it because you'd have played a good few games there. You They have to be showing something of difference from last season. Also, what you saying?
I think anywhere from 10th to 13th. I'm not necessarily that's where we're going to finish. I think we will get top 10 or at least 10th. In fact, I think in my predictions I put us 9th. I don't think that's necessarily a bad position to finish this year. I know we bought loads of players in, and I know that's where we finished last year, I believe. But as I said, with the new style, it's going to take time. If we finish 9th next season, then I would be slightly concerned because I'd be like, well, where's the improvement? But as I said to you, I think this year you just got to be patient.
Yeah, right. Finally, prediction Saturday. What you saying?
I never like to say that I think West Ham are going to lose, but I probably will go with a Palace win, maybe 2-1. I think it'll be a hard game.
I'm gonna say save mine for the preview, but I agree with you. I think it's a tough game. I really do. I look at us over the last 2 years. We've fucking held 9 goals there. And I swear on my life, if he picks any of them players, that back line, if that back line is not changed on Saturday, I'll hit the roof. I will. I will literally lose my complete shit because you've held 10 goals in pre-season. You've held 2 against Villa. If you go with the same one again, then you're just asking for trouble. So yeah, I'm going to say that. Right, me and Harry are going to make a move, but before we do, Harry, shout out all your social media if you want people to follow you.
I'm just on Twitter. It's Harry Peters _WHU. If you want to come follow me, if not, don't worry about it.
No worries at all, mate. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit notification bell. I'm going to be a busy boy this week. I've got a preview lined up. I've got an opposition preview lined up with a Palace fan telling me how great they are. Also, I'll be doing some betting content for the Crystal Palace West Ham game. I'm going to be looking into it sort of on Thursday, and the video will drop on Friday. So become a member of the channel, and it'll go a long way. Also, before I go, anyone who wants to come on here in the near future, you have the opportunity. I'm going to start doing fan cam reactions straight after games and things like that. If you can't get on it on the day and you want to come on the next day, I'll work around you. You want to come on camera, speak well, you're more than welcome to come on here. So just give me a shout on X if you want to come on, have your say. This channel's for everyone. It ain't just for me, mate. So there you go. Me and Harry are done, right? Enjoy your Tuesday wherever you are. Love West Ham. Manchester United stay away from Alvarez, at least for another 12 months at least. And I will see you again in the next one. Take care of yourselves. Peace.
Come with me,